Hello everyone, Shannon of Shrush Design here, in case you don't know what I look like. I have a little bit of a different video coming out today than I normally do and what I had scheduled. I wanted to give an explanation of what's going on. So I'm going to be delaying everything another week again on my regular Wednesday videos. My Procreate videos, I'm trying to get those out still. Those are a little easier to deal with than the other ones. They're easier to edit, they're easier to get out. And I know most of you are here because Procreate videos, so I'm trying to get those out, on a regular basis. I've been doing 2 a week. I'm trying to at least do 1 this week. I'll tell you why. But I could get 2, maybe, possibly. But, well, long story short, so this is going to be kind of a personal video. Long story short, the reason why I haven't been able to get my work done this week or the rest of this week was on Friday night, my cat, Chaz, you may have seen him in other videos if you watch my regular Wednesday videos. He likes to help me. I call him Assistant Chaz. Well, he escaped Friday night into Saturday because one of the doors was left unlocked in our back porch. I'll get to the long story of why that happened in a minute, but long story short, that's the reason why everything is going to be kind of delayed. So just to explain that, so I was originally going to have the botanical drawing leaves out this Wednesday, which is when I'm releasing this video. I'm filming this on Tuesday, in case that comes up. But, today, technically, when you're watching this, is when it was supposed to be my botanical drawings leaves video. That's going to get it delayed a week, so it's going to be April 12th. The next one was the signage video that was supposed to come out the next week. It's now the 19th, and then the mural that I'm doing on my back porch is April 26th. So, originally they were all supposed to come out a week earlier. They're going to be delayed a week. But I'm going to release this video to kind of let you know what's going on. And again, I'm going to try to get Procreate videos out, ASAP. So, yeah, my cat is missing, basically. And, a couple weeks ago, the reason I wasn't getting videos out was because he was waking me up early. And I was kind of like, well, I need a break from this. Well, I got my break. Not a good break, but anyway, so he's been missing since Friday night. This is Tuesday that I'm filming this. You'll see it on Wednesday. If by chance he shows up tonight before I release this, I'll let you know in some way. But he's still missing as of Tuesday. It's a little after 2 right now on Tuesday. So Friday night he got out sometime in between like 9:30 Friday night and 6:20, well, 6:15, I guess, Saturday morning, the next morning. So, all right, try not to do the long story yet, because I know there's people that probably don't want to hear the whole long story. But so my cat is missing. I've been distraught the last 4 days. I'm a little better today. Yesterday I was pretty bad. We're still looking for him, hoping he comes back. Don't know what's going on. Haven't had any credible leads since Sunday about where he is. Sunday morning, I'll talk about that in the longer story. But since then, have no idea where he's gone since then, and have no direction whatsoever to look for him. So we're kind of at this point just kind of waiting for him to come back. And today there's like a storm that came through, thunderstorm, so that he's probably hiding somewhere. Assuming he's still alive. I assume he is still alive. So, don't know where he is though. Knowing him, he's hiding somewhere, and we have all his stuff outside, so hopefully he'll smell it. But with the rain and everything, I don't know. But that's a short story. That's why everything's delayed. So, long story, if you're interested, my cat, Chaz, you've seen him on the channel. Like I said, he's usually in the bonus footage because he interrupts me while I'm working. He will be in the mural video because he is part of that already. Hopefully he's in the rest of it as well, because again, I've started the mural. But hopefully he's comes back and he's in the rest of it as well. But he is currently missing. Hopefully I keep saying this, hopefully he comes back. Maybe if I say it enough, he'll show up. But anyway, long story. So Friday evening, before this happened, I was outside with him. I usually let him out, but I supervise him. And you've seen that, like when I work on stuff outside, like the murals and stuff, he's out with me. I'll keep an eye on him. I usually get interrupted. I have to go find him because he kind of wanders off a little bit, not really that far. Or he'll go around the corner where I can't see him, so then I go and get him. But he's never really gone off the property. He's never really gone off the property. So, like one time this kind of happened before where the same door was left unlocked and it wasn't closed all the way. And so, like the wind knocked it open or something. And we noticed within like 5 minutes or so. Like probably less than that, I mean. And we're kind of like, where's Chazzy? And like we went outside and he, at that point, was like down towards the street, like down our driveway by our mailbox. And that's, the farthest he's gone without being supervised. But we were kind of like, get back here. And he got back right away. Like he was kind of like, oh, I'm sorry. Came back. But that was like a year ago. So then, normally, we let him out, but I will watch him while I'm out there. Either I'm out there with him, or sometimes I let him out like in the front yard, like on the front porch that we have, and I'll watch him through the window. And if he starts going somewhere I can't see him, then I'll go out and get him. But especially during the winter when it was cold, I'm like, I don't want to bundle up and go out there. Like for some reason he wants to be out there in the cold, even though he's always snuggling up to me, which is another thing I'm going to get to. Kind of weird that he ran away. But anyway, I'm always watching him when he's outside. I never would let him roam around on his own. I always was kind of worried he would kind of wander off. So this was a complete accident. It was a series of bad decisions I made that night. First one was not locking the door. I mean, I didn't mean to do that. I just kind of forgot. So I'm getting to that. I was out working on my mural. So in the 3-season room, I've done some videos back there you may have seen, but there's a door on this side and a door on this side. This was the one he got out and was unlocked. But this was the one I was using most that night. So, like, this one's closer to getting at the other side of the windows, which is where my mural is going. And so he wanted to go out. So I let him out, and I'm like, well, while I'm out here, I might as well be productive. I'll start kind of, because I still had to kind of refine the lettering. I still have a little bit more I have to do out there to refine the lettering, but I was starting to do that while he was outside because I'm like, again, I might as well be productive right now. So then, a couple times I was watching him. He kind of went around the building. I went to go get him, and then one time towards the end, well, I'll come back to something else, but towards the end, I didn't notice, but he went like behind me, apparently. He went behind me while I was working on the windows and I didn't see him. And, I lost sight of him, so I thought he went around the building again. So I went around, like all the way around the house trying to find him. And he ended up being on that side rather than this side or the front. So he obviously went past me and, went that way instead. And I just immediately thought he went that way. So anyway, found him there, picked him up, and the reason why that door is unlocked is because we came back in through that way. And I had my keys with me, so I unlocked it, went back in the house, and I think I had him, and I may have had other stuff in my hand too, and kind of dropped it all off, and I just kind of forgot to lock the door. And, I locked the other one. That one was locked. And that one, even if it wasn't locked, I don't think it would have blew open the way that one did, because we have problems with that one. So the rest of that night, I forgot to go to the middle part. I'll come back to that. I swear. Anyway, the rest of that night, I knew that I wasn't going to be in that room anymore because the only thing I was doing out there was the mural, and we weren't going to be going outside because there were storms coming in that night. And at first they were like really severe, where there were like tornado watches and warnings like in the counties kind of southwest of us, and it was coming this way. By the time it got to us that night, it wasn't tornadoes, it was just thunderstorms. But I was worried at first that there were going to be tornadoes. But anyway, I'll get to that the rest of the night after that. But the point is, I was done with this room because the weather was coming and I knew we weren't going to do out there. So what I did was I closed from that room to the rest of the house. There's a sliding glass door that I can lock, and I did that, and I closed the blinds. I don't know if they were open anyway, but the blinds were closed, so I couldn't see in that room anymore. And I normally don't close that door right away. This was the worst mistake, other than leaving the door unlocked to begin with, but this was the one where it was like, this is where I went wrong. So I normally leave that door open until it's time to go to bed, and then I will close everything and make sure everything's locked before I go to bed. It's part of my routine at night. So what happened was I ended up doing that earlier in the evening when I was done, which was like 5 or 6 that night. And I closed that door, locked it, and closed the blinds if they were open, but they were closed. Either way, they were closed, and I couldn't see in the room. And it was kind of like at that point, oh, I'm done with this room for the night. Like, I'm out of sight, out of mind, don't care about anything that's going on in there. And like when I went to bed later at night, like I kind of, I'm like, oh, I already checked that, it's fine. And I was being kind of lazy that night because I was like exhausted and I was ready for bed. And we'll get to that. But anyway, that was the whole point there. That's the mistake I made, was forgetting about that room at that point, at that night. So anyway, going back to the middle, before he ran off and I went after him, I was filming something for my mural video, kind of like the reveal of how I'm going to reveal what the mural looks like. And I also filmed because during that, Chaz got away and I went and grabbed him. And the camera was still rolling because I didn't turn it off. So I came up, just kind of a joke, and as for bonus footage, because I always put them in my bonus footage, I came up to the window mural lettering that I have on there, and I held on to him and I read it to him like I was, and what it says is, spring reminds us that it's time to turn over a new leaf on the 4 windows. And I was showing him like, hey, remember this whole part of you waking me up way early in the morning? Can you stop that kind of thing? Like I was joking around, like, maybe you should, have a better habit from now on. I was joking. It's a cat. He doesn't know any better, but, I was making a joke. But that's the last, as of now, hopefully he comes back. That is the last film I have of him, which is kind of sad. But you'll see that in the mural video when I release that. But anyway, so that was that. Then that whole thing happened where I locked the door already. And then the rest of the night, my husband was downstairs working on stuff on his computer in the basement. And I was up in the living room up here. And me and Chaz were just sitting on the couch, not this one, the other one, and watching TV. And I was working on something on my computer, I believe, for the rest of the night. And he was just sitting there fine next to me all night. And because of the storms, I was watching the radar, and because I was initially worried, okay, we might have a tornado warning, I'm gonna have to take him downstairs, because we did that a couple months ago. I think October it was, we had one, and I had to take him downstairs, and we have to like keep him downstairs because he'll want to run up the stairs. So we usually put cardboard in front of the stairs in the basement. But anyway, I didn't have to do that because it wasn't a tornado, but I was already ready, like keeping an eye on him, because I knew I might have to take him downstairs at any point. And I never did because it wasn't tornadoes. So then shortly after the storm passed, like the big part of the storm, I was really tired that night, and again kind of lazy. So I decided I was going to go to bed, and this was like 9:30, maybe 10, like close to 10, I don't know. But anyway, I decided it was time for bed, and I started doing, what I normally do, which one of those things is I feed Chazzy before I go to bed so he won't wake me up in the middle of the night to eat. So I give him some wet food at night, and I leave dry food out for him as well. Well, anyway, I did that, and I don't remember specifically if he got up from the couch, but I think he did. I think he got up and ate. I know for sure he ate at some point because a lot of the food that was left was gone. So he did get up and eat. I kind of remembered, but this might be wrong, that he was still on the couch when I went to bed, but I might be remembering that wrong. But anyway, I did my whole routine, which includes checking the doors, but I didn't check that door because it was like any of those doors in the back porch, because I'm like, those are done. I already checked those. It's all done. I don't have to worry about it. But I did have to worry about it, and I should have checked, and I didn't. So, that would have prevented it. But I checked the garage door, I checked the front door, and, I brushed my teeth and stuff and went to bed. And, the other thing that might have alerted me to it, but didn't, was Chaz didn't come to bed with me. He normally does. I say normally, but the last, couple days or a week, he hadn't been coming to bed with me right at night. He goes in kind of waves where, for a while he will come into bed with me and lay all on me. He's got to be right in front of my face all the time, when I'm laying down, or when I'm sitting on the couch and trying to work on my laptop. He's got to be in front of me. He can't lay next to me. He has to be right on top of me. And I miss that. Obviously, I never thought I would, but but it's another reason why it doesn't make sense that he left, because he is so clingy, especially since his sister died, which I'll talk about in a minute. But anyway, he didn't come to bed with me, and he hadn't been doing that the last couple nights, so it wasn't weird. I might have thought it was weird if he hadn't been doing it, if he had been coming to bed with me every night until then. I might have thought it was weird, might have gotten up hey, where are you? I wanted to check on you, make sure, but he didn't. So I assumed, again, my memory's kind of messed up. I thought he was still on the couch, and I assumed he was just sleeping there, and I left him there. But he might have gotten up and ate, but then I thought maybe he laid back down on the couch. My husband was still downstairs at this point, so I went to bed. And I say went to bed, but I don't go to sleep right away. It takes me hours to fall asleep normally. But I usually get really tired. I'm I should go to bed. But then I don't sleep for another 2 hours. But anyway, so I went to bed. And again, didn't think anything of it. He wasn't there. But I thought he was still on the couch. And then kind of 15 minutes after I went to bed, my husband came up. And he went to talk to me in the bedroom, and he said, I'm going to stay up for a bit, I'm going to play some video games. So he was going to be out in the living room where I thought Chaz was, sitting, playing video games. And so I assumed Chaz was with him, and he kind of assumed he was with me. He went in there and he didn't see him, but he assumed he was in there for some reason. We talked later, and he said, yeah, I thought he was with you. I didn't think anything of it. And we also have a cat tree in the bedroom that he sleeps in too, so he could have been in there. But anyway, he thought he was with me, and I thought he was with him. So, we both, maybe if we would have communicated more that night, maybe we could have prevented it then, or at least caught him when he was still kind of close. So, because I think it happened right away, basically, when I went to bed. Shortly after that is when it happened, because my husband didn't see him at all that night before he went to bed. He was up for another hour or so playing video games. So I have no idea. Anyway, where was I? Okay, so woke up in the morning, I did. And it was 6:15, which was weird because normally Chaz wakes me up way earlier than that, 5:30, 5, 4:30, 3:30. And usually during the night, even if he doesn't like wake me up, I wake up because maybe I feel him crawling across me or whatever during the night. I didn't remember him ever being in there that night at all. I think I slept soundly the whole night, which was nice, but not nice. And, you know, waking up at like 6:15, I was like, geez, Chazzy didn't wake me up yet. Where is he? What's wrong, you know? So I got up, went to the bathroom, and another thing, I thought maybe he was in the bathroom, because sometimes when he's not there when I wake up, he's waiting for me in the bathroom, or whoever wakes up first. Usually it's me. You know, he's waiting in the bathroom for us because he wants fresh water from the faucet. So he wasn't in there when I got there. And he wasn't in, like, he's either on the counter or he's on the bath rug in front of the toilet where the heater is. He's not there. So I'm like, that's kind of weird. Where is he? So then I started looking around at all his usual spots in the house. Couldn't find him. And I'll talk about the back portion in a minute, but the only place I didn't check was the basement. So I thought maybe he was down there, but I didn't feel like going down there because I wasn't dressed for the occasion. I also wasn't dressed for going out into the 3-season room because that's all windows. So what I did was, when I got there, I opened the blinds so I could see in the room, and I didn't notice the door was open. I looked at his cat tree, which was like, the door is here that was open. The cat tree is like here in this corner. And I looked at that real quickly, didn't see him on like any of the ledges there. And then I looked, because the litter box is like in this corner, kind of towards the door. I looked real quick in there to see if I could see him in the litter box, and I couldn't. So I'm like, okay, he's not in here. So then I went to bed, back to bed, and I was hoping that he would have heard me. I don't know about hearing, because I think his hearing's going. But, you know, if he heard me, or he felt my footsteps, or he saw me, or something, that he would know that I'm awake, and then he'd be like, oh, you know, my master's awake, I'm going to go, or my boss, my servant, he's a king Chaz, my servant's awake. But whatever he thinks me of, I don't know what he thinks me as, you know, is awake. Now I'm going to go bother her like he normally does, and he didn't. So I got up at like 5 or 10 minutes after I went back to bed because I couldn't fall back asleep and I was worried. And so I got up and, you know, looked around again, and then I opened the door to the back room. And the first thing I noticed was it was freezing cold in there. And I was like, why is it freezing cold in here? And the first thought I had was, so we have a heater that we plug in back there because the insulation's really bad in that room, and, you know, it doesn't keep the heat very well. So during the winter, we put a heater in there. So overnight, you know, things don't freeze to death. And the room, you know, doesn't take forever to heat up during the day or whatever. So we have a heater in there. Then I thought maybe that wasn't working or something, and I looked at it and it seemed fine. Then I turned around and I saw the door was open, and I was like, oh no, that's what happened. He got out, you know? So then I ran back in the bedroom because I didn't have, you know, proper clothes on, especially for going outside, but at all, basically, because I was sleeping. And so I like put my clothes on, and my husband woke up and I told him, and he put his clothes on, and, you know, we both ran outside to try to see if we can find him somewhere around the house, and he wasn't there. And it was pretty cold that night, like in the 30s, 40s. And actually, I think it was only in the 30s, maybe even the 20s, like the high 20s. That night, it's been warmer since then, but that first night that he was gone, it was very cold. So he probably went to seek shelter somewhere, I'm guessing. But I don't know why he didn't come back in the door, because the door was still open in the morning. Like, it's not like it blew open and blew closed, but it might have done that like a few times during the night. Maybe when he was trying to get back in, it was closed. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. But for whatever reason, you know, he decided to explore a little further. Well, I can tell you my theory, because again, it doesn't make sense, because he is so clingy to me, especially since his sister died. He's been clingy before that, but he has been extra clingy, and we haven't left him alone in the house since his sister died, because, you know, we went on vacation and stuff before that when they were both here. We haven't gone anywhere since his sister died, and that was January 2022. The most we have been gone, like, is for like 8, 10, maybe 12 hours, like if we have like a party to go to or something, or like holidays or whatever, that we're at someone else's house. But, you know, he hasn't been alone for longer than 12 hours since his sister died, and he doesn't like being alone. So again, it makes no sense to me. You know, he would yell at us when we get back from even being gone like 4 hours. We get back from that, and he is yelling at us at the door, like, where were you? You're not supposed to leave me. I don't like being alone, you know, like yelling at us. And so it doesn't make sense, you know. I mean, I get him being curious and wanting to explore, but I don't get him not coming home at all. You know, he must have gotten lost or like turned around somehow. Maybe something chased him. Maybe he got scared. I don't know. The only other thing that makes sense to me other than that is, so ever since his sister died, I don't think he quite gets that she died. Like, he didn't get when she was sick. Like, she was sick for a while and kind of not really moving and kind of laying there. And he was trying to like play with her like he always did. Like, he kind of fought with her all the time. Like, you know, like he wants to play. And, you know, she was sick, and I was kind of like, Chazzy, you know, she's sick, leave her alone. And he never really got that. And then the day that we ended up having to put her down, we didn't know when I left that day that was going to happen for sure. In fact, I thought it wasn't going to happen. But that day, he did sniff her before we left. He saw me take her, like, in the carrier. Well, actually, I think I took a tote because I couldn't get her in the carrier that day. Like, he saw me take her and then never bring her back. So I think he thinks that she's like lost somewhere like outside, and he needs to go get her. Because even like, especially in the beginning when she left, which was the winter, he was like, of 2022, he was like, I want to go outside all the time. And I was kind of like, it's cold out there, you don't want to go out there. And he's like, I want to go out, you know. And I think that was because he was trying to look for a sister. Like, he wanted to look for her. Like, I think she's out there, I want her back, you know, because they have been together their whole lives. So Chaz is 16 and a half, if you didn't already know that. Otto died when she was 15 and a half-ish. Almost 15 and a half. But they've been together their whole lives. I've had them since I was in college. You know, I had them ever since I had, you know, my second apartment, I guess. You know, they were my cats for 16 and a half years. Or, well, 15 and a half until Otto died, and then 16 and a half until Chaz left. So, yeah. Anyway, so I know I'm kind of rambling on. I'm trying to get to the point. Anyway, we think like that is the theory I have as to why he kind of explored further. Like, he's looking for his sister, and maybe in addition to that, he's lost and he doesn't want to get home, and or he's hiding somewhere because something scared him and he's afraid to come home. So I don't know where he is. We'll get to like the sightings and everything we've had. I'll talk about that in a minute, but you know, at this point, I haven't had any credible leads since Sunday morning, and it's now Tuesday afternoon. And today, again, we had the thunderstorms that happened before I started filming. And, you know, I know he's scared of that. He doesn't like it when he's in the house. So if he's outside, he definitely doesn't like it. So I don't know, that could go either way. Maybe he's going to be so scared of the thunderstorm that he's never going to leave where he is. Or maybe once it kind of clears up and it's more sunny again, maybe it'll like motivate him to be like, I need to get home because I don't want to be outside when one of these things happens again. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping. Again, assuming he's still alive. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what he's eating out there, what he's drinking. Because when he does go outside, he tries to eat like the grass in our yard. And we don't have any chemicals sprayed on it or anything, but Otto used to do this too, his sister. but she could eat it and not have a problem. He eats it and he throws it up right away. So if he's out there eating grass, like, he's probably throwing up everything. I don't know how weak he's getting. That being said, though, when Otto was sick, one of the things was she kind of stopped eating for a while. Like, she would eat very little. And she survived for a long time, like a month when she was sick. So, but she had a lot of fat on her body as well. But she got real weak, you know. That's not what I want to happen to him. But, you know, right now it's only been 4 days. So I'm like, okay, maybe he could survive without food. She wasn't drinking much either when that was going on either. So with the rain, though, he'll at least have some fresh water he can drink. Again, I have no idea where he is, where he's getting food, if he's getting food, where he's getting water, if he's getting water. You know, if he has shelter. I assume he has shelter somewhere. But I don't know anything where he is right now. All right, so let's get to, you know, we checked, when we first found out, we checked around the house. I immediately after that started, you know, got in our neighborhood kind of apps. We have a Ring doorbell, so I went on there. I went on Nextdoor and I posted on there, and then I posted in our local community groups on Facebook about it. Where am I from that? So I posted all that. Then, you know, I had told my sister about it because she lives, like, we live on a golf course, if I haven't already mentioned that. I don't remember in this video if I have or not. So my sister actually lives on the golf course too, but like on the other side over here. So I texted her right away. I was like, in case he went that way, if he shows up at your house or your neighbors or whatever, just so you know. So she gave me a few kind of ideas of places I could post, like, that are more for like lost cats in the state or the area. So I posted to those as well. Then what else? So then, you know, we were kind of looking around the area. We didn't really know where to go. The next kind of big thing that happened was someone messaged me on Saturday on Nextdoor, I believe, and told me that they had a cat trap, like one of those humane live cat traps that you can trap like a feral cat or whatever in. So we could borrow it if we wanted, which was nice because I was already thinking like maybe I should get one, buy one somewhere. Like where can I get one? Like very quickly, not like Amazon or whatever, because that would probably be a couple days before it would be shipped. And then miraculously, you know, someone's like, hey, I have one, you want one? So we went and picked that up and set it up, and we're kind of optimistic about that the first night. Like maybe we'll put some stuff in there that smells like me. We'll put some food in there for him. He'll come back, we'll trap him, you know, that'll be the end of it. Well, that hasn't happened yet. We've had it out every night since then. But anyway, that's what happened Saturday. So then Sunday, like Saturday I was like all worried. Sunday I woke up and we checked the trap and everything, and I did have other shelters and stuff outside, hoping that he would show up, other like his toys and stuff. I put his litter box out, hoping he would show up because of the smell, but he didn't. But I woke up after all that and I checked everything. I went and I felt better, you know, because Saturday I was kind of like worried. I was barely leaving the house other than I checked initially. Like I don't think I even brushed my hair. Like I was just kind of like worried the whole day inside. So Sunday I felt better, took a shower, looked like a normal person, you know. And then I got motivated to make like a brochure, poster, flyer, is what I'm trying to say, you know, for the neighborhood, for people to have better access to information and be able to contact me and know my name and everything. So I put that out there. So I made a flyer, I put it on our community posts, and I printed a bunch out. And while I was printing them, someone texted me with my information that I gave out and told me that they saw, she's like, I saw your cat on my camera. You know, she thinks she sees it. I'm pretty sure it was him. Sounds like him. and it was the first, so it was right down the street from us. Basically, she saw him on her camera, like her security camera on the house, whatever it was. And she had told me at like 9:30, 9:45. That was when she texted me, but it actually happened at like 5:30 in the morning, so it was kind of 4 hours late by the time she told me. She probably didn't notice right away. So it was still helpful. It was the first optimistic thing. It was like, wow, this is the first sighting I've had that's close by. This was good news considering if it was him. It was close by because I had other people contact me from like the next city over this way and the next city over this way, and then like further out in our city. I'm kind of like, I don't think he's gotten that far, especially the first day. So Sunday morning was when I got this one that was right down the street. So my husband and I right away like got this text. I ran off down the way to try to look, and I asked in the text to exchange because they weren't home at the time. I asked, like, can we look around your property? Do you mind? And they're like, oh, go ahead. So we did. Obviously, that was 4 hours later. He was long gone. Don't know which direction he went. She didn't say in the message. I actually didn't ask. I should have. And now I feel kind of weird asking, especially now that it's way, way later. But, we don't know where he went after that. But it was like, okay, if that was him, and I think it was, at least he's close. He's like 5 or 6 houses away from us, like down the street. So, we felt optimistic after that. Like, okay, he's somewhere nearby. So then I was continuing to print the flyers out, and what we did that day was went and did our street and this next street over, and it kind of loops around. So we did all of those in flyers because it's like the immediate area, and I didn't really have enough, and my printer is so slow to like do the whole neighborhood, like the whole subdivision. So I've been trying to print out more and maybe expanding my flyers, but I also posted it on our community groups. Not everyone's on there, so hopefully, but I also gave my information to the vets in the area and the shelters in the area, so they know. But anyway, we did that, and we talked to a few neighbors who were outside walking around, if they see anything. One of the community groups I'm in, someone who is in the neighborhood and walks her dogs, has been trying every time she's been out with her dog. She's telling me, oh, I haven't seen anything. Like, is there anything I could do? Every time. But, she's been trying, hasn't found him. If, again, assuming he's still alive, and I think he is hiding somewhere out of sight. And part of the thing on the flyer was I told people, can you at least please just look in your own property, like under your bushes, under your porch, under your decks, anywhere you think a cat would hide, in your garage, in your shed, like things like that. Because we don't want to just like go onto people's property and start looking around. If we got a lead, we might do it, but we're not just going to do that. And we've gotten permission from a few people to do it, but we don't feel comfortable just going onto someone's lawn and looking under their bushes and stuff. So, blah, blah, blah. We did all that. And then, so that was Sunday. And since we got that lead that was so close, that day, we had walked up and down the street a bunch of times. We also walked, because the golf course is this way, we walked up and down the golf course a bunch of times that day and that night. And, we thought maybe like dusk and when it gets darker and the early morning would be the best times to find him, when he would probably be moving more. So we really tried to hit it hard that night. We went out twice, once when it was like sunset, and then once when it got dark and we went out with flashlights. And then the next morning, my dad came over and me and him walked along the golf course again, even further in each direction. And when it was like very dark and sunrise was just starting when we stopped and didn't see him. So I got kind of discouraged on Monday. That was yesterday from when I'm filming this, 2 days ago from when it's being aired. And I got real discouraged that day because it's like, I don't know what I can do anymore, and we haven't gotten any more sightings, and I was starting to get real pessimistic about it. and I was not in a good place. And then, towards the end of the day, especially when my husband got home from work, because he had to go to work today and yesterday, because sometimes he works from home, but he couldn't, those 2 days, he couldn't take off either. He had stuff he had to do. So once he got home, I felt better. And then, we both got to talking about, what we thought was going on, and we both felt better. And then today I feel better overall, even if he doesn't come back from this point. It's like, I know I've always been trying to look at this realistically, like maybe, like from the minute I knew, like maybe he's not going to come back, maybe like this is it, And with every passing day, it gets a little more pessimistic. Like, I'm still hopeful. I will always be still hopeful, because we've heard stories of like a year, like a cat has come back. So, but we're trying. And then I haven't gotten really any sightings at all today. No one has contacted me at all today. Like, everyone has given up, it seems like. So, other than my parents did drive around a bit and they called me, but they haven't been able to see him either. But like, no one in the neighborhood has, said anything to me, or even further out. So like, I have been the last couple days, I've been getting at least people who mean well saying, yeah, I saw a black cat. Like I said, there's lots of black cats in the world. It's not necessarily him. Some of them have been sort of close by, so I'm like, well, maybe that's him by now. It's been 4 days, maybe he's that far out. But when we got that one on Sunday morning that was so close, it was like all those far ones were like, no, that's not him. This is him, So, but we might be wrong about that. I don't know. So we're kind of at the point, if we get another lead, like that seems legitimate and seems plausible, we will follow it, try to find. But at this point, until we get another lead, we're not really going to go out and search anymore, like we were on Saturday into Sunday into Monday, where we were up and down the block, up and down the golf course. Like, that was exhausting, especially because it always came up with nothing, not a sign of him whatsoever. It's awful. So I couldn't do it anymore. So again, if we get a lead, even if it's a little late, I will go out there again. But right now, I can't. So we're hoping he comes back on his own. Usually that's what happens with cats. So we still got everything outside. And we got the trap out. We're hoping, especially during the night, that he goes in the trap, because then he'll at least be contained there and he won't try to run away again. And we have that set up where we can see it with our doorbell camera. So I don't know, but hopefully he comes back. I will let everyone know, if we find out a definite yes or no. No would be, he's found dead or something. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but otherwise, that's the reason why this video came out instead of the one originally that was supposed to come out. But I wanted to let everyone know, and I felt better today, so I felt like I could. I should be able to get started on the rest of those videos. I haven't been doing the mural anyway, because even if I had, the mental space to do it, because it's been raining and stuff. So I'm going to continue that. I'm about a third of the way done with that at this point. I've done the lettering. I need to do a little bit more touch up on that. And then I'm going to be drawing a bunch of flowers around it for spring. So that's what I'm going to start doing next. And that's going to be most of the mural. So like the lettering was like a third of it. So, but I've got 3 weeks now to finish that. So, but anyway, the botanical drawing and then the signage after that, and then the mural video are going to be coming out. So for those of you who have stayed for this whole video, I know I've been rambling on. Thank you for listening. If you want to see more Assistant Chaz, I've been showing clips, I believe, while I've been talking. If you want to see more, look at my other videos before this, and sometimes he pops up in the actual video, but he's usually in the bonus footage of those videos. So not all the time. Sometimes he has left me alone during projects, but he's usually very nosy and needs to know what I'm doing all the time, as long as he's not sleeping, and he's not like sitting on my chest all the time. So again, I'll let everyone know if he shows up and he's healthy, you know, because we're probably gonna have to get him to the vet right away if he does show up. I'll let you know. But see you next week again with the spring videos that are coming out starting next week. Thank you. Anyway, I interrupted his nap time, I think is the problem. You can go sleep somewhere else, you know. Are you gonna jump up there? He's a little old, he doesn't like to jump very much anymore. No? Okay. What? Come on. You can get down from the tree yourself, you know. You wanna go up there? You wanna go on top? What? Hey, I need to open that door. Come here. Wanna get down? Alright. Why don't you get down? Come on. Gonna cut this up first. You leaving already? What are you doing down here? Oh, little silly boy. All right. Got a thicker one. So we'll see how that works. It might be too thick. Hey, quiet. Do I want to cut this up more? Probably. Start over here. Are you having fun? Hi, little boy. Well, you don't need to yell. You don't need to yell. All right, so I am starting another day on this. Excuse me. Are you excited to do the window? You happy? You ready? You ready to do the window, Chazzy? Well, too bad we're not doing it today. Quit. As you can see, my assistant is back. You're something else, Chazzy. Something else. Quit it. Where do you think you're going? Time to get down? Hmm? Here. There he goes. He's starting already. Chazzy. Chazzy butt. You hear this? What do I deal with? Chazzy, it's cold out there. It's cold and there's dogs and coyotes. People, even worse. Meow. Oh, meow. Hey, Not while I'm drawing. Yeah. Goodness gracious. You're just too much. My freehanding with Chazzy. Results may vary. Oh, stop it. You're lucky you got to go out at all. Really? Is that what you think?